Hey, did you guys hear that the Parkland shooting sentencing phase just happened?
Yes.
And a decision was made.
0 people are happy about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, big time.
Hey, survivors. Tonight we're going to be discussing the Nicholas Cruz sentencing phase that just completed. It was the Parkland shooting case, if you remember that one. It was one of the biggest that we had here in the country. But
yeah, absolutely. It was brutal.
It was bad.
there was a lot of issues that happened with that. But the jury just came back a couple of days ago with a decision. And based on the recent changes in the state law, as far as the death sentence, they had to come to a unanimous verdict.
Yeah, because I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, Supreme Court said that in Florida the death penalty, the way we were doing a death penalty, was unconstitutional. It had to
Correct,
be
right.
Because we were leaving it up to a judge. And then they said, no, we have to leave it up to a jury, and it has to be unanimous.
So, this was the implementation of the changes. And as we kind of mentioned earlier, there's a lot of people who are not happy about this decision.
Not happy at all. So what for anybody who's living under a rock, tell us a little bit about this shooting, John.
Okay, well, Nicholas Cruz graduated, or he didn't graduate. He had attended that school.
Yes.
He had a lot of contact with law enforcement.
A shitload of contact with
Palm
the
Beach
cops.
County Sheriff's Department. The sheriff at the time was Scott Israel.
At the time.
Not no.
Nope.
They had a very progressive policy when it came to dealing with juveniles.
Right.
And there are actually domestic violence incidents that occurred that were handled administratively and not judiciously.
Now, isn't that state law, though?
It is, but
In the state of Florida.
yes.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
As far as that, and we all work the same agency. We worked in Florida.
Yep.
You have probable cause in a domestic, you make an arrest.
Yep.
Well, but even that, it's yes, that is what the law is.
Right.
But it's also, you can kind of play with that a little bit. Much like we go back to the Gabby Petito case.
Right.
Okay, where I think we all agreed that based on their investigation at that time, she would have been the one charged.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
However,
She was the aggressor. She caused the injury.
based on the evidence they had at
Yes,
that time.
absolutely.
Right.
However, we also have dealt with a lot of domestic violence incidents where we recognize that the perpetrator, the primary aggressor at a domestic violence incident, isn't necessarily the root cause of the problem.
Correct.
Okay, but we can only address that.
And law enforcement really, we're not really equipped for root cause
Right.
solutions.
That's not patrol's job.
Right.
Okay, but you can play with it and say, well, he was having a panic attack. You can sometimes get creative in how you handle these things.
And do we believe that if she had been arrested, that she might still be alive?
That was our
There's a lawsuit saying that it is.
But it's so hard to predict because in Utah, and if you guys, you should check out our video. We really broke down what happened. It's in all of our videos. It's really good. We did a couple of them, a part 1 and a part 2. It's good. And if you're not sure, I know it's Utah. I forgot the name of the city. You have the body camera, and there's probable cause for an arrest.
But also the law is different there.
The
But
law
I think
is
we're going down a rabbit
I
hole.
know.
We don't need to. So anyway, all I was saying was
we're off in Utah rabbit hole.
what I was saying is they didn't necessarily make arrests. They didn't create a history
Right.
of all the problems this kid had.
But they didn't have the. Did they have? I guess a sheriff, he had the authority, but he didn't have state authority to do that. If you have probable cause on a domestic violence, you make an arrest. And aren't you just causing more trouble for yourself by not following that rule?
Absolutely.
Lawsuits out the wazoo, everything else. Absolutely.
Now, just to go off another tangent, we've all probably had very difficult situations. I had where it was a mutual combative situation, husband, wife. 3 o'clock in the morning, you got a 2-year-old baby. I mean, okay, am I taking both? They never wanted you to take both. You couldn't really tell who was the aggressor. I ended up taking one, giving an NTA to the other.
Correct.
And so that she could take care of the kid,
But
because
the
I
whole
wasn't
thing is,
calling.
The point was, there's a record.
Right. Yes.
There's an arrest record, or at least a notice to appear.
NTA for the civilians. NTA is notice to appear.
Yes,
It's almost like a summons.
So it's a criminal charge.
It's an arrest.
You just don't go to jail that night.
But there is a record.
Right.
Okay. But there was virtually no record of all the contact Nicholas Cruz had with law enforcement.
Now, were they trying to just like
Juvenile crime is not a problem.
decriminalize?
Yes, they wanted to decriminalize everything.
Okay.
right.
So, and this is what happens when you don't file charges, when you don't make arrests, when
There's no consequences.
no consequences. But things, there's a history. Remember
Right.
being told when you were in school, this is going to go on your permanent record.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
There is no permanent record
Yeah.
unless someone makes the record.
So how many times?
Yeah.
How many times?
To have a record, you got to make the record.
How many times should this kid have been arrested before this incident
I
happened?
believe there was like 6 or 7 incidents.
I thought there were 6. Yeah.
Yeah, where he should have been arrested
Right.
Yeah.
by state law,
Yeah.
and they didn't.
Right. They did an alternative track type thing. So and this is fairly common with juveniles where you're allowed to enter into a diversionary program. The problem is it's, you still get the charge.
Right, that's after arrest. That's,
Right.
That's set by
they
the
just put them
courts.
right in the diversionary program.
Right. Yeah.
So things like that. So anyway,
Before we talk,
did y'all notice the new setup?
Yes.
Guys, we have our mics up here where you can hear us better. Hopefully it took away all that horrible, it's taken away all that horrible echo. We're trying to invest this money that we're getting from our sponsors, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. Thank you, sponsors. But in order to buy some better equipment. So we got the microphones up here close to us. If you see us kind of pivoting around them, we're trying to get the sound. We did a bunch of tests and everything. But anyway, John, I think we have a beer moment,
we do have a
brother.
beer moment. This is, I know I'm going to say it wrong, Lagunitas Hazy Wonder. It's a hoppy beer.
It's got a little purple dog on the front of it.
There's an awful lot of haze in there.
Yeah, it is definitely hazy. And you say
sure.
hoppy, it's really not.
Yeah, but it's not a hard-
right. It's more of like a white IPA. I like it.
It's a sour though.
Is it?
Yeah, it's sour.
A little bit, yeah. I can tell a little bit of
And
grapefruit.
since I'm a
or something
lager
there.
drinker by trade,
By trade.
I'll start the voting. I'm going to give it a 6.
that's about where I was going to go. So I'm going to give it a 5.9.
There you go.
I'm going to give it a 7. I like it. It's easy
All right,
drinking.
so about a
I'm
6.5
enjoying
-ish.
it. Yeah. Might be because I've already had 3, but
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for if you guys have a suggestion on a beer or something that we should try, we'll try and find it and we'll give it our test. Or a bourbon or something like that. We'd love to try it out.
ooh, bourbon
Hell,
tasting.
send us some. If you want to send us little samples or
You have to
something.
watch every show to see which ones we've already done.
Absolutely. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.
Also,
We appreciate it.
what LT was saying about the mics, if you notice a difference, if you think we're doing really good, bringing some good quality, let us know.
Yeah, if
Reach
it's a
out.
lot clearer, just go back to one of the other shows. You'll hear the echo, and it sounds like we're in a tin box.
Yeah, we're really trying to
Yeah, we're
bring
trying
a
to make
good
it better.
quality product out to you guys.
All right, so back to what we were talking
Okay,
about.
so anyway, Nicholas Cruz went and he brought a duffel bag full of guns and ammo and all that stuff. Started shooting up. That's also where
This is Stoneman Douglas.
High School.
in Palm Bay or Palm Beach.
Palm Beach. Yeah.
now one of the officers, the sheriff's deputy, was the SRO. Instead of going to the shooting, much like the Uvalde mess, okay, and he was roundly and properly criticized and run out of law enforcement.
for sure.
So, you had a ton of things that went wrong on that.
Yeah, he did not
Yeah.
respond the way he should have at all. And I think didn't they end up charging him with 21 counts of child abuse or child neglect or something?
I think they
I don't
did,
remember
and I think
what happened
I think
with
he pled
that.
it out,
Okay.
and
Yeah, they probably pull his cert and all that.
So, and then the football coach actually ended up getting shot trying to tackle
Right.
him.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
there was I think there was
17.
people were killed that day. And like I said, the sentencing, he pled guilty. Nicholas Cruz pled guilty.
Right.
So I mean, we didn't have to worry about that part of it.
Yeah, and which is good because you didn't have all these kids needing
Was-
to testify.
Yeah.
And,
Was there a plea bargain? Do we know? And
Well,
and that's
no, it was
why,
never
or-
taken. Well, no, they told him, you can plead guilty. We are not taking the death penalty off the table.
Okay. You know how they do sometimes.
Right.
Hey,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
if
a
you
lot of
plead,
times-
we'll
We'll
take
top up to everything. We'll take
Right.
death
Well,
penalty off.
right.
Okay, I didn't.
So
know
they
that.
did not,
All right.
and that's what this whole penalty phase thing was
Gotcha.
about.
Okay.
So was it the regular prosecutor, or did they bring in somebody else because they had to replace the sheriff? You know how they've replaced.
Hey, was it the Orange County prosecutor?
No. There's no issues with the prosecutor.
Okay.
There was no concern about that. But he pled guilty. So now all they had to do was prove the mitigating factors.
Right.
Do the aggravators meet this?
Right.
The jury came back and said, yes, they do.
Okay.
Okay. Apparently, 11 out of the 12 voted for the death penalty. One person held out.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is the jury system. Though.
This is
I know
the
you're
jury
frustrated,
system we have.
Okay.
Yes.
And, at the beginning of jury selection, you have what's called voir dire or voir dire, depending
Right.
on how you say it.
Yep.
And all the jurors were asked, are you willing to vote for the death penalty if it meets the criteria of the statutes?
So obviously this juror said yes.
So this juror
I
said
wonder
yes.
what it would have taken, or they lied. Either
Well,
they lied or it wasn't enough. And I'm like, okay, what is enough?
Well, it could be an overwhelming thing.
Wow.
But I would be willing to, but my standards went way, way up here. Like Timothy McVeigh
Okay.
that's the lowest standard.
Well,
All I'm saying
doesn't it take a more evil? Let's just follow that logic. Isn't it more evil to walk around with a gun and actually shoot somebody up close than to just park a
child.
truck bomb?
it's a lot less cowardly.
Yeah, right.
McVeigh was very
mean,
cowardly the way
yeah,
he did it
for
because he walked
sure.
away.
He just walked away.
and
boom.
it's
Yeah.
evil to walk up to a child.
Oh,
And
absolutely. All I'm saying is,
Yeah, we don't know
the
what's going through their
juror,
mind.
the juror
right,
may
right.
have said, "Yeah, I am willing to vote for the death penalty. However, my standards are way up."
It'll have
Yeah.
to be 150 people or 400 people.
And
not
Hitler
yeah,
level.
not just 17.
and their decision may have been changed because they didn't have the actual trial where you didn't get all the gruesome details.
Right.
You didn't get.
No, that's
you didn't
true.
see all that.
Well, don't they have? But they have a sentencing trial.
Right, but you don't see the entire.
Okay.
Yeah.
A trial can be.
And you're not going to hear all them victims' parents. Well, I guess they do in sentencing.
Yeah, but
some
it's not
of
the
them
same.
come up, but it's
the
not
same
the
where,
same.
where they show the video from the school.
Yeah,
where
during the trial and all the pictures of the kids laying there with their heads blown off, and I mean, just
Yeah.
come on, man.
I don't get how somebody could have such a high standard. Not.
I don't know, but that's our jury system.
My guess is they lied.
Well,
I think to me that's more plausible.
But the bottom line is that is our jury system.
It is. Yes.
And we had to accept it.
Right.
Camille is a conspiracy theorist.
I love a good conspiracy. Send me your favorite conspiracies.
Well, we happen to have one
Right.
because today is Friday, October 14th.
So yesterday they announced life without parole.
Life without parole.
Right.
Florida doesn't have a parole. So I guess the only silver lining about this whole sentencing
He
is
will never see the light of
he
day.
will. It is a long-term death penalty.
Yeah.
Right.
If you look at it that way.
It's a very extended.
That we are going to have to pay for as taxpayers for 50, 60, 70, 80 years.
Although, number one, it would have cost more. Unfortunately, it does cost more to litigate it. There's like automatic litigations and things like that.
Well, yeah, of course.
Well, if they just took him over to Big Sparky right there in the back of the courthouse,
Hey.
it wouldn't cost all that.
You know what? Like I said with McVeigh, they should have just let him out on the court steps.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You want your debt? Hey, you're free to go.
Have
Go
we
walk out.
had any mass murderers of children go to prison and stay in prison
Oh,
for any
he's
amount
not
of
going to last
time?
very long.
Well, that's
Right, they're going to have to
I mean,
put him in
figured out
protective
exactly
custody.
He's
where I
going to
was
be in
going.
protective custody, so he's essentially going to be in isolation.
Yeah, but he's got to go out to the infirmary, to the yard every now and then for exercise or something else. And you know there's some guards that may just say, okay, hey, hang on, I'll be right back.
I got to go get a sandwich.
Yeah, somebody slips in.
It happens.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Slipped
Or
on
not
the
Jeffrey
soap
Dahmer,
in the...
Jeffrey Epstein.
Both.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer got beat to death
Yeah,
in prison
yeah, got
too.
beat to
So
death.
Okay, so anyway, your conspiracy theories, okay, and you want some excitement. Okay, well, today the judge had to bring the jury back in for a post-deliberation hearing.
right.
Because apparently the jury...
Dun dun dun.
apparently the judge received a note saying that some of the jurors felt that the one who voted for life in prison as opposed to the death penalty, that juror had made that decision before the trial even started.
Right.
Again, we got to go back to voir dire.
Right.
Okay, and the judge said, "There's not much I can do about that."
And the prosecutor, because I watched the prosecutor wanted the part that I saw wanted to bring this to the attention, but was not arguing the verdict.
Right, there's because there's another controversy that happened. The first one the judge handled and basically said, "We're not going to do anything about this," and there is not an attempt to overturn the decision or the verdict or anything like
Right.
that. But the prosecutor received a note from another juror saying that another juror in there had threatened him, and he wanted that investigated.
Threatened his life,
Threatened
right?
his
Not
life.
just said, I'm going to beat your ass, but I'm going to kill you.
I'll kill you.
So he was going,
Which is a crime.
Mofo.
so he asked the judge for permission to investigate that allegation.
Right.
And the judge made a determination. Number one, if you investigate it, you'll be conflicted out.
Right.
Therefore, we will have the sheriff's department investigate this allegation. And if they determine that a crime has been committed, they will bring charges to you.
Right.
You know, and this is the appropriate way.
But they could get an assistant state attorney to.
They could, but it's better if it comes out of a separate office.
Right. No, I'm saying the investigation could be done by the sheriff's office, prosecuted by an assistant state attorney.
Well, yeah, and that's what's going to happen.
Right.
The point is, they didn't want the prosecutors or the district attorney's office to investigate it.
Right.
We want the sheriff's department or law enforcement, but down here it's the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
They do their investigation, determine if a crime was committed, and then forward the appropriate investigation to the sheriff or to the district attorney, state attorney, prosecutor. Let them make the filing decision, but they didn't investigate it because they don't want the investigating agency to also be the prosecuting agency.
Right. Yeah. That's a conflict of interest.
So
that would not be good.
No, he would conflict himself out.
So, all in all, the verdict's still going to stand.
Verdict's going to stand. He's going to spend the rest of his life. We have no idea how long it is.
Right. How what is he?
He's 17, I think.
Well, he was 17. But he.
Oh, yeah.
So he's what, 20?
18 or 20.
Yeah, this happened in
2018.
2018, so he's 20.
Yeah. So he's 20. He'll go.
22.
Yeah. And he'll.
I hope he lives to a ripe old age of 97.
Yes. Being abused.
Accosted in the shower.
No, I hope he has several medical problems. Like legitimate, you know.
Yes.
I'm not with.
Are you saying that our correctional system is not really
No,
set up for medical
No,
issues?
I'm saying I hope he gets MS,
Right.
but has to live with it for a very, 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 very long
Some
time.
painful issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Things like that.
You remember down in South Florida, the scumbag who kidnapped the little girl and buried her alive? And there's I'm drawing a blank on it. He went to prison, and he suffered in prison for many years with anal cancer.
All right.
Right? I think there is a God.
Well, now that you pretty much brought the show down.
Jeez.
So everybody, remember, anal cancer.
Well, listen, what I'd like to do now is thank each of one of our sponsors for the show, because without them, it would be really hard for us to have any of the equipment that we now have. First and foremost, Kristen and Tom Clem, Realtors. If you guys are looking to buy or sell your home, all their information is down below. This is the team that you want to hook up with. She is was a school teacher, now does this full time. And Tom, I'll talk about him in a second because he's our second sponsor, which is Clem and Company Property Investments. Tom is a veteran Marine. Almost messed that up.
That's all right.
A veteran Marine, and he is currently a law enforcement officer who is out here protecting us. We appreciate it. And if he is looking to buy some property, if you guys are unloading Grandpa's house that was in the family forever, and you want to sell it, make a quick sell, or you're just looking to go ahead and sell it, Tom is your guy. All the information down below. And our last sponsor is ARackAbove, portable overhead garage storage. I'm telling you, this system is amazing. It'll hold a ton, literally, of your crap.
Ton
up
of
and
your
above.
crap.
It's totally transportable. So if you move, change houses, you can take it with you. You don't have to drill any holes. You can store all of your totes and everything above in the top part of your garage and be able to park your cars under it, walk under it, everything else. It's amazing. Look these guys up on the internet, ARackAbove. It's absolutely amazing. And Steve, we appreciate your sponsorship on the show. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. As a Surviving the Badge podcast, we forgot to do our following officers, which I'll do real quick.
Ruh-roh.
That's all right. We're drinking and talking and shooting the shit and talking about our new equipment, so we're excited. So as of this year, as of today, 190 police officers in the United States have been killed in the line of duty. And in our next episode, we're going to talk about ambushes and domestic violence situations and things like that that are making the job even more difficult for our boys and girls in blue.
Boys and girls
absolutely.
in blue. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
for all the officers who have passed in line of duty, we salute you.
Salute. And God bless.
Rest in peace.
And just remember, guys, I don't have anything. Oh, yeah, I do.
Well, wait, hold on.
No, what?
I got to throw something out there, though.
Please.
'Cause
Oh, yes, the competition to shave your mustache.
No. Ryan Snyder just retired.
He did.
Shout out to Ryan. Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
You made it out there, boy.
I told him he's welcome to come on the show now that he's retired. He just kind of laughed.
He's not the most talkative individual in the world.
So I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, I'm still waiting for that invitation for your
That's
boat,
awesome.
Ryan.
And we will do another tribute to him at the beginning of the next show. Because I don't know if he lasts all the way to the end here. He's probably
But
about
if you did,
12.
thank
he's
you.
in. Thanks, Ryan. All right, because it's Surviving the Badge, we still
still
got
got
your
your
6. Salute.
Salute.